significantly increases the risk of osteosarcoma, which is bone cancer, increases the risk of cardiac hemangiosarcoma, triples the risk of hypothyroidism, increases the risk of progressive geriatric cognitive impairment, triples the risk of obesity, increases the risk of orthopedic disorders, increases the risk of adverse reactions to vaccinations.
Should you or should you not spay or neuter your cane Corso? That's the topic we're going to discuss today. I've done numerous videos on this before, so a lot of the OG subscribers know my thoughts, my feels on it. A lot of it's just common sense too. Because Bruce Wayne had cystine stones, the veterinary hospital keeps pushing us to neuter him. No, I'm not going to neuter Bruce Wayne. Figured it's a good time to talk about it again because we have a lot of new subscribers since I've done this video previously.
It's a very polarizing topic.
It's a very polarizing topic, and it's a very misunderstood topic. It's also a very under-researched topic. We got Bruce Wayne over here snoozing, Joey Justice right here. Got the whole squad. He's like, please don't take my balls. Don't take my balls. Good boy. Research paper I found, long-term health risk and benefits associated with spay, neuter, and dogs. We're going to give our thoughts and everything, but I also want to read some of this, and I'll have this downloadable PDF linked in the description box for you below. Are you guys subscribed yet? If not, make sure you subscribe because we're always putting out a lot of helpful dog training content, fun vlogs, health content so you can have a healthier, happier dog. So make sure you guys are subscribed.
Can I read this first statement here just because I think it's interesting. The intro is, dog owners in America are frequently advised to spray and neuter their dogs for health reasons. A number of health benefits are cited, yet evidence is not usually cited to support that. And I would say that's pretty standard when you go to the vet. They're pretty much just going to advise you to spay or neuter your dog because it's better for the health. Isn't that kind of the blanket statement that's given? That's the blanket statement,
and they don't tell you the downsides. And that's, if you go back and watch my other two videos, they're all fact-based, they're all science-based. There is research done, a huge study done on 400 golden retrievers, 200 spay-neutered, 200 not, and it went over the health risks and benefits that both had. And it gave a lot of negatives of spaying and neutering your dog that the vets just don't tell you. And that's where I'm just very disappointed in healthcare in general, not just for people, but for animals too. They don't inform you as a consumer. So it's up to you as a consumer in your own health and your dog's health. You have to take that in your own hands. Don't take whatever any doctor tells you or any vet tells you, as wonderful as they are, as gospel. Do your research and find out what's best for you.
You know what this reminds me of exactly?
What?
Birth control.
Yes.
As a woman going to a gynecologist or your doctor, you want to prevent babies, go on birth control. Is it safe? Sure. They don't tell you any of the potential downsides or the long-term effects.
And she actually has a video when she was on birth control for 20 years, and then she came off it on her channel about all the negatives and everything that happened to her because of being on birth control.
It's kind of similar.
So because Kara's a registered dietitian, she's very much into health, very smart. I wanted to bring her into this video. She got up, she's in her Christmas jam. She's not ready yet. This dude was up at 5:30 a.m. She slept till 8.
I haven't brushed my teeth yet today.
Yeah, that's what stinks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through this article really quick. We're just gonna summarize it as best we can, and then we're gonna get over our thoughts on everything. This article will not discuss the impact of spay-neuter on the population control or the impact of spay-neuter on behavior. And I will actually do a separate video on the impact of spay-neuter on behavior for your dog as well. That way you can separate it between health and behavior because they're two different topics. An objective reading of the veterinary medical literature reveals a complex situation with respect to the long-term health risks and benefits associated with spay, neuter, in dogs. The evidence shows that spay-neuter correlates with both positive and adverse health effects in dogs. It also suggests how much we really do not yet understand about this subject. On balance, it appears that no compelling case can be made for neutering most male dogs, especially immature male dogs, in order to prevent future health problems. The number of health problems associated with neutering may exceed the associated health benefits in most cases. And that's always been my argument. They just tell you that your dog can't get prostate cancer, testicular cancer, and those cancers are very curable. I think the death rate if your dog gets testicular cancer, prostate cancer is less than 1% because it can be treated. Other instances of it increases chances of bone cancer, that isn't really curable. That's where I feel animal healthcare really lacks and falls short. It doesn't educate you. It's almost just like, we have a problem, we're gonna do this to put a Band-Aid on it. Not and that Band-Aid could cause other issues down the road. With Bruce's cystine stones, androgens can cause cystine stone buildup. If you neuter your dog, all the research says it still may happen. Those cystine stones still may build up.
Yeah, it's not a fix, for sure.
It's not a fix, and it's just possibly leading to other health issues. Okay, on the positive side, neutering male dogs eliminates the small risk, probably less than 1%, of dying from testicular cancer, reduces the risk of non-cancerous prostate disorders,
reduces the risk of perianal fistulas.
Perianal.
It is
Sounds
like
sexual.
it sounds.
Okay.
No, it sounds sexual.
May reduce the risk of diabetes. And I would also counter argue that because I could see neutering your dog increase the risk of diabetes because of obesity.
Negative side effects of neutering male dogs. If done before 1 year of age, which many times they do, right? Significantly increases the risk of osteosarcoma, which is bone cancer, a common cancer in our medium to large and large breed dogs with a poor prognosis, so that would definitely be these guys. Increases the risk of cardiac hemangiosarcoma by a factor of 1.6. Triples the risk of hypothyroidism,
Which can lead to weight gain, leading to diabetes.
Yeah. Increases the risk of progressive geriatric cognitive impairment.
Our dogs can get dementia.
Yeah.
And that's a very
Super
sad, scary
sad
thing.
for humans or dogs. Triples the risk of obesity, a common health problem in dogs with many associated health problems. Quadruples the small risk of prostate cancer. Doubles the small risk of urinary tract cancers. Increases the risk of orthopedic disorders. Increases the risk of adverse reactions to vaccinations.
Now, just out of those positive and negatives, what outweighs what here? Common sense. What would be the route to take?
I would definitely not
neuter
especially
your
with
dog.
these dogs right now. If having male dogs and large bred dogs, it's a no for me.
Yep, and that's just some of them. I know there's more from other studies I've looked at. So for female dogs, the situation is more complex. The number of health benefits associated with the spaying may exceed the associated health problems in some, not all cases. On balance, whether spaying improves the odds of overall good health or degrades them probably depends on the age of the female dog and the relative risk of various diseases in different breeds. On the positive side, spaying female dogs, if done before 2.5 years of age, greatly reduces the risk of mammillary tumors, the most common malignant tumors in female dogs, nearly eliminates the risk of pyometra, which otherwise would affect about 23% of intact females. Pyometra kills about 1% of intact females. Reduces the risk of perianal fistulas, removes the very small risk from uterine, cervical, and ovarian tumors.
Negatives of spaying our female dogs, if done before 1 year of age, significantly increases the risk of osteosarcoma, which is bone cancer, increases the risk of splenic hemangiosarcoma by a factor of 2.2 and cardiac hemangiosarcoma by a factor of greater than 5, triples the risk of hypothyroidism, increases the risk of obesity, causes urinary spay incontinence in 4 to 20% of female dogs. That's pretty high. That's a pretty vast range.
That's a big range.
Increases the risk of persistent or recurring UTIs by a factor of 3 to 4. Increases the risk of recessed vulva, vaginal dermatitis, vaginitis, especially for female dogs spayed before puberty. Doubles the small risk of urinary tract tumors. Increases the risk of orthopedic disorders and increases the risk of adverse reactions to vaccinations.
Now again, looking at those two, my gut would say don't spay your dog. And again, this doesn't deal with population control. There are other ways you can get around this and still have population control. You can do a vasectomy in male dogs, or you can do an ovarian sparing spay on your dog. Both of those keep your dog's hormones intact, but then they can't reproduce. One clear thing is much of spay-neuter information that is available to the public is unbalanced and contains claims that are exaggerated or unsupported by evidence. Rather than helping to educate pet owners, much of it has been contributed to common misunderstandings about the health risks and benefits associated with spay-neuter in dogs. The traditional spay-neuter age of 6 months, as well as the modern practice of pediatric spay-neuter, appear to predispose dogs' health risks that could otherwise be avoided by waiting until the dog is physically mature, or perhaps, in many cases of many male dogs, foregoing it altogether unless medically necessary. Which, again, going back to Bruce, the only way to do it is if these stones keep building up, and we have no choice because his urethra was so scarred and so closed, it was 90% closed. And I'm gonna do a full video on his diet change, his dietary changes as well, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that. His urethra is 90% closed, they got it to 50% open now. So what they'll have to do is if it happens again, they'll have to then neuter him, reroute his urethra so he pees out his scrotum. And we don't want to do that. I'm just gonna brief over a couple issues with spaying neutering your dog, such as orthopedic disorders. And I've said this for years, spay neuter is associated with a twofold increased risk of cranial-crucial ligament rupture. Perhaps this is associated with the increased risk of obesity. You know, your dog weighs more, and then there's more pressure on their joints or tendon, and it's easy to tear an ACL, blow out a knee, something like that. Hormones keep your tendons and ligaments strong. So you remove those hormones, everything weakens, and then you just have weight gain, you lose muscle. Muscle really supports your tendons and ligaments, so when you remove hormones, you lose muscle mass and you start to deteriorate, meaning you can more easily get
especially with a large or giant breed dog like Cane Corsos. So the geriatric cognitive impairment, which is something quite scary that can happen with our male dogs, they found a severe cognitive impairment can occur with neutering the dog. Basically that can just lead to disorientation in the house, outdoors, not even recognizing your family members, which quality of life is huge. So
think of like
there.
Alzheimer's, dementia in people.
Right, just how it is in people could be the same as dogs. They can just get confused with everything, their environment. That's gonna impact a dog's entire quality of life.
Yes.
Like they only have so many ways to communicate, so if they have that disorientation, it's gonna be a really sad quality of life, and it's definitely gonna leave you as an owner in a really hard place to decide what's best for that dog moving forward.
Objective reading of the veterinary medical literature reveals a complex situation with respect to long-term health risks and benefits associated with spay neutering dogs. The evidence shows that spay-neuter correlates with both positive and adverse health effects in dogs. It also suggests how much we really do not understand about the subject. On balance, it appears that no compelling case can be made for neutering most male dogs to prevent future health problems, especially immature male dogs. The number of health problems associated with neutering may exceed the associated health benefits in most cases. So in conclusion, this paper is basically saying that there are way more health risks spaying and neutering your dog. Again, this isn't about population control. This is just about their internal health.
It's just wild to me because that's not relayed to you when you go to a vet.
It's not at all.
I will say some vets are better than others with at least waiting until the 2.5 years of age mark, whereas before I felt that they really pushed that by 6 months.
Yes.
You know, we had dogs our whole lives, so that was kind of what stood out to me. There has been
Bruce
a little
is the first
shift.
one we've never neutered because that's around when this information started to come out.
And they didn't fight us on it.
And they didn't fight us at all on it. Now let's just go into common sense, okay? All of us have hormones in our bodies. And speaking about females, for example, when they're menstruating, having their period, you go crazy sometimes. You get mentally sad, your hormones are up and down.
Yeah, it's
and
bad.
that's all because of hormones, right? So that just shows right there how much hormones can just control your day-to-day mood, for example. Imagine completely removing all of your hormones. All of your internals, your organs function off of your hormones. Like everything in your body, it's like homeostasis, right? Everything, your body's very smart. Our animal's body's very smart. It knows what to do with certain things. So removing all of those hormones, it's gonna throw your whole dog's bodies into chaos, not knowing what to do. So a lot of the times you don't see these negative health right now. Okay, my dog got bone cancer 5 years after I neutered him. A lot of people don't associate the two. You know, it's the long, slow degrading of your dog over time because of spaying and neutering them.
And you know, I'm just gonna go out here with a conspiracy theory, but what benefit would veterinary medicine have with conducting that type of research?
Money.
What benefit would it have to say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be doing all these surgeries? All that's gonna do is take away from the money that they're bringing in. Because by not spaying or neutering, it's decreasing their business. There's no other business coming in from that.
It's decreasing it in just more than just a surgery too, if you think about it.
Health benefits.
Yeah, because now
if
it's
they're
like,
healthier.
if they're healthier, they're not going in as much.
little jaded by the system, but I think the same could be true with veterinary medicine as well. And again, that's not throwing shade to actual vets or vet techs or their business. Everyone is governed by another governing
we're talking
power.
about the overall picture.
Yes.
You know,
we work with amazing vets, so.
Just common sense says that spaying and neutering your dog is going to drastically affect their body system. Let's humanize it even more. When a male has testicular cancer and they have to have their testicles removed, what does the doctor do? The doctor puts them back on testosterone because your body needs testosterone.
Right.
When you neuter a dog, they don't put the dog in hormone replacement therapy.
Yeah, why don't they do that for dogs?
And then on top of it, you have the emotional state of the dog. And that's a really sad thing because, like Kara said, dogs only have a few ways of communicating with us. And a lot of times you don't know when your dog's sad. You don't know when your dog's depressed. Your dog can't tell you that well how it's feeling. And it's not even gonna understand. It's not gonna be able to communicate, hey, I'm feeling really low all of a sudden because you chopped off my balls. It's
made out to be that it's a very no big deal type surgery. I get it, they do it all the time, but
it's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal.
Why put your dog through that if they don't need it? You're putting your dog probably through its first surgery of life. It can definitely change the dynamic of your dog being at the vet for life after that.
And I feel a lot of people do it because they can't handle their dog because they haven't trained it properly, they haven't raised it properly. So they think it's an easy fix. I'm going to neuter Fido and he's going to stop marking in the house. I'm gonna neuter Fido and he's gonna calm down. And actually, that could happen. Your dog could calm down or they can become more aggressive as well. And that's just not a way to fix something. That's the whole wrong way of thinking about your dog's behavior. Instead of thinking about why your dog's behaving bad, I should neuter him. Think about, why is my dog behaving bad? It's probably because of the lack of leadership they have in their life.
I would definitely push your vet to go through risks versus benefits. If, as a dog owner, your vet's pushing you to do this at a young age, I would try to bring your own research with you and
bring your own research
and ask them and question them about it. Don't just take what they say at face value that you should do this because this is the standard and this is what is the best for the health. Question them on these things that Jason and I brought up in this video and maybe bring some research with you to say, hey, can you take a look at this? If you're not familiar with this, let me know your thoughts. I would hope a vet would be familiar with the...
I don't know if they'd be extremely familiar with all the research that's out there. I definitely urge you to also check out my other Never Neuter or Cane Corso video and Cutting Off Your Dog's Balls video. That's the titles of them. I'll link them in the description box as well. They go over a lot of research studies. On the 400 Golden Retriever 14-year study I went over. That's a big study. That's a long-term study. It's the life of the dog.
Right.
And that's where you really see the impacts of spaying and neutering dogs. And that's the first thing I read. Dr. Karen Becker was talking about it. She's a vet. You can find her on YouTube. And I remember seeing a video saying that she would never take a client if they refuse to spay or neuter their dog. And then after years of seeing all the damage that this was causing, she was literally in tears and she was calling all of these clients and apologizing because of all the devastating health effects from spay and neuter.
Wow.
Yeah, so check her out. She's very educated. She's ahead of the curve when it comes to healthcare on your pets. So definitely check out Dr. Karen Becker. She's great. She has a lot of information about raw diets as well. And also, we also offer a raw diet masterclass. The link to that will be in the description box below, along with all of our other amazing online dog training courses, puppy training courses, canine obedience courses, and you save 10% using code Jason with all of them. I promise you, they will change the relationship of you and your dog for life. They use the same philosophies how Kara and I trained Bruce and Justice, so you guys are in good hands with those courses. Lifetime access to them, so you never lose access. 10% you save code Jason. Until next time, Kara Corey, Bruce Wayne, Joey Justice, and myself. See you later. Peace.